There we go. Hi, everyone. This is the beginning, the pre-show of the Buyers and Sellers Show. It's Friday morning, 10:34 a.m., live in Westfield, Indiana. And this is the Buyers and Sellers Show. Hi, you're on the Buyers and Sellers Show, and I'm Jay Skinner. This is the day we're going to have Mr. Doug Wing. And we're live. Hi, everybody. I'm so glad you've made it and that you're here. We've got a big group already. And I want to just let you know that this is a special day. We are here because we know and love Mr. Doug Wing. And I'm just going to bring Doug on right now. Doug's back in the green room. Doug, come on out. Come on out. Oh, there you are.
Hi, Jay. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Doug?
Good.
Doug, this is like, you are always so popular when you come on my show. And it's like right now there's already comments piling up. Let's just see who they are. Okay.
Sure.
There's Scott Rickard says, "Good morning, Jay and Doug." Hi, Scott.
Morning, Scott.
And then Michelle Entree Hollis, she likes the tunes. Yep. Thanks, Michelle. Glad you like it. She says, "What a great way to start the day. Thank you for the tunes." And she said, "Hi, Jay. Glad I caught you live." I'm glad you did too, Michelle. And then let's see, Eli Skinner. That's my son, Eli Skinner. He's the owner of Simplify Real Estate here in Indianapolis in Greenwood, Indiana. And Eli's a big fan. As soon as he knew you were coming on, he said, "Dad, it's going to be on my calendar." I said, "Great."
Well, I think this is the third time on your show, and I do appreciate you having me back. So thank you.
You're welcome, Doug. And my niece, Sharon Skinner Hoffmeister, she's a fan too, Doug. Sharon has a business, and she has gone um, live every single day for her business called Reveal Products online for just over 3 years now
Holy
without missing a single day. Christmas, holidays, unbelievable. And she's done a fantastic job. And look, she's going to tell us, she says last night was day 1100.
wow,
Unbelievable.
that's great. What an accomplishment.
And then let's see, Gregory Sneed here. He's from California, and he says the only guy that can do a sales presentation and wing it. That'd be you, Doug.
Yeah, I haven't seen Greg for a while, but it's good to see him again. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, this is fantastic, and I want to pop something up here. Folks, if you go to Doug's website, it's dougwing.com. This is what you're going to see. And one of the big things that we're talking about here, it's a great website. We're just talking about is that on November 1st, Doug is going to be doing a book. The book's coming out. And tell us a little bit about the book, Doug, right off the bat.
Well, I wrote a book that came out March 5th on my dad's birthday called Giant Success. And that book, from day one went to #1 on Amazon, which really surprised me. But I had a few friends that, really helped me and encouraged me and said, this book's going to be number one, and it's going to be number one really quickly. And I didn't believe them. One was Jeffrey Gitomer, and the other one was Ken Walls. And so they kept encouraging me, and that book came out. And that was a difficult book because it was my first one. It took 18 months. It was during COVID. And then in February or March of this year, I met Mark Victor Hansen. And I had dinner with Mark and his wife. And they actually gave me this book right here. And they signed it. And after we were done eating dinner, they gave me this book. But while we were having dinner,
And Mark Victor Hansen is the one that's famous for.
yeah, he's the co-creator of Chicken Soup for the Soul
There you
series
go.
of books. Him and Jack Canfield, I think. Yeah. So anyway, I met Mark and had a nice dinner with him and his wife. And during this dinner, he said, "Tell me about this book, Giant Success." And I told him about it. And before we got done, he said, I'd like to offer you a 3-year contract to write more books with me." And it really shocked me. I was like, wow, what are we going to write books about? And he said, well, you have so many neat stories about you and your father and your life and your, just your different things that happened in your work. And he said, I think that we can make a series of books, and we can write them actually in, fiction books, and but use kind of your stories and but come up with fictional characters. And I was really intrigued, and so we did it. And the first book coming out excuse me, is called The Giver.
Well, see, that is so interesting to me. And from a time frame standpoint, I mean, you did Giant Success, which I showed here, which is nonfiction about your dad's work in the founding of the Little Giant Ladder Company, and then you and your brother and other people worked on that and built it into a huge company, and then you sold it, living the American dream. Um, how did you go? What did it take to write this? And then wasn't it like fast? Next thing you know, you're into a new book and ready to go?
Yeah, and that's a great question, because the first one I mentioned took me 1.5 years, and it was during the whole COVID thing, but I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I had worked build a business, and I was building and selling ladders, and so I didn't know the first thing about writing a book. But my dad had a little. I asked my dad about this once, because he actually built the business and sold it, and then the company ran my dad's company into the ground, and so then he started the company again. And I said, wow, wasn't it harder the second time? And he said, no, it was easier, because I remembered all the mistakes I made the first time, and I just didn't repeat those mistakes. And so the second time, the business just grew so much faster. And so I think that really helped me. And that was true for this second book, is that I remembered all the dumb things I did, and the things I didn't do either, and kind of drug my feet on the first one a couple of times and got bogged down. But with the second book, it just came so much quicker and easier. Again,
Just a matter of months, wasn't it, from the time you and Hansen talked?
yeah, it took about 3 to 4 months to start and finish this book, which was incredible. And so it was great. And so the book is about a son who his name is Spencer Ward, and his father's name is John Ward. The company is called Camp Wild. They manufacture camping equipment. And in this book, the father gets cancer, and he ends up passing away in the beginning of the book. The son takes over the business, and he finds out as he gets into the business and takes over as the CEO of the company that his father was this huge giver, and he was a philanthropist, and he knew nothing about it because his father did everything in secret. And so at first the son is like, all he cares about is making money. And but as he learns about all these stories and the people in the stories where his father affected their lives, he ends up becoming a giver and learns how to give and give anonymously. And it's a really cool book and a really cool story.
Wow. Hey, we've got a lot of people on board with comments. Let's see who we've got here. See, Gregory commented, winging a prayer, and let's see. Oh, good. Live from Trinidad and Tobago. That would be Randall Sinanon. Good to
Wow.
see you here, Randall. And then let's see who else is here. Ron Goodwin, Goodwin Graphics. Good morning.
Yeah, Ronnie does. He makes shirts for me, and he does a great job.
Oh yeah, and then Blake DeVore, one of my friends, and uh, Blake is a property. You talk about property management. He's in property wholesaling here in Indianapolis, and will be going with me along with two other guys from Packaging Systems to the Gittimer training event that's coming up here in just a couple of weeks in Wild Dunes. So
Wow.
good to see you, Blake. And let's see who else is here. Scott Rickard. Can't wait to get your new book, Doug. That is
Thank
right.
you, Scott. Scott was, you know what? Scott was the first person, I would say one of the first persons that bought my book. And what I loved about Scott was he bought like 10 or 15 of my first books and he shared them with other people. And so Scott, I thank you for supporting me and sharing that book with many other people. And I do appreciate you, my friend.
Awesome. So glad. And then see, uh, Kadza Agar. Let's see, Kozo. Excuse me, Kozo Agar. He's in Accra, Ghana. And earlier we were talking about over here. Let's see how there's my Liberia, which is where I do some work, and then over there in Accra, in Liberia, not far from that, is Ghana. And
Mhm.
God, we got friends in Africa, don't we? Look, they're excited about hearing from you.
Wow, that's incredible.
And so let's see. I don't think I've missed anything. Thank you, everyone, for chiming in and saying hi and saying where you're from. Oh, that's always fun to see where people are from. Oh, there we go. Randall's got a comment. He says, Doug, at different levels, people understand the power of giving. Here's a question. How do we help those who we lead to better understand this consistently?
Well, I think the first way to do it is be a, be an example. Just be a giver, right? And show people by the way that you lead your life. And if you have a company, you can be involved in different charitable organizations, and you can do it as a business. I mean, there's a lot of companies that I know that like go on humanitarian trips. Like, we just had a big hurricane in Florida, and there's companies I know that'll take their people down and they'll go help people clean up and do things like that. And so I think as individuals and as companies, we can take the lead by having projects like that. And I know that right now at Little Giant, they do a lot of things with like Make-A-Wish and different groups. And so I think that's kind of the way to do it, is just kind of lead by example and provide your employees opportunities to serve and help people.
Uh, you were talking about how you were able to put this thing together, this new book, um, in just a few months compared to the first one. And we talk about success, and there's parallels between your life and your dad's and everything in this new book. And I know that by going from nonfiction to fiction, it gives you some literary license, which is awesome, and
Mhm.
interest. But when what's the difference between successful people and not so successful people?
I think a couple of things really. Self-belief is one of them. And I was so fortunate enough to grow up with a man who had unbelievable confidence. And he taught us to have that kind of confidence in ourselves. And that is huge today. I think with the things that we've been through with COVID and the way things are, in our country and the economy, and there's scary things going on right now. There's countries at war, but I think confidence is really big. And then I really think that my dad's drive, his work ethic, he never quit, and that was passed down to myself and my siblings. Those two are big, big, big in someone's life, is that self belief, and then obviously just the work ethic. And I'm not going to quit, and I'm going to plow through and be successful. And those were really, really big, big in my life. And my dad was an unbelievable mentor, and he just was amazing.
Your mom was too. In
Yeah,
fact, she was key in giving you that sense of confidence that you can do it.
my mom was real quiet, and she didn't like any of the limelight. And she grew up in my mom. What I learned from my mom was she grew up in Germany during the war, and they were poor. I mean, she said they had to go beg for food every day. And so my dad was a huge risk taker. So I learned to have confidence and take risks with my dad. But my mom was she was a very good with money and taught me how to save and for a rainy day. And so my mom and dad balanced each other out really well. Dad was the risk taker, mom was the saver. And so my mom taught me how to manage money and do those things.
Now, you talked about what keeps and holds people back: lack of confidence and fear of failure.
Hmm.
How do you counsel people in that area and give them confidence that they can go ahead and take those risks and how to think about that? Because it's scary.
Yeah. Well, you got to have goals, and I get up every morning and I have my goals that, I get up every morning and do a little meditation, and I list my blessings every morning. I list, 8 to 10 blessings, and then 8 to 10 of the things that I want to accomplish in my life. And you've got to have goals. If you don't have goals, you're not going to accomplish anything. And so you have to set good goals, and then you've got to go out and work hard and reach those goals. And as you accomplish those goals, that gives you confidence to go out and make more goals and have more success. So it just, you start off small, and you continue to chip away at those goals. And sometimes we make mistakes, of course. Every day we make mistakes, and we just got to keep on going, and good things will keep happening.
So what I'm hearing is there's a due portion of this to get yourself prepared, which is literally writing down some goals and concentrating on specific things that will help guide you toward what you're trying to accomplish and keep you out of the weeds. Is that what
Hmm.
I'm hearing?
Yeah. I mean, I had two really powerful mentors in my life that were so organized. My dad was super organized. And then when I was on a mission at 19 for my church, my mission president was uh, a general in the Air Force. And man, excuse me, that guy was so organized. And that really helped me to see these two mentors, huge mentors in my life, their organizational skills, their goal setting, their attitudes. It just was over the top, and they were great examples to me.
Man. I see Greg said corporate social responsibility to the community. Sadly, quite a few confuse that with socialism. It's not. Huh, that's right.
Yeah,
And go
and,
ahead.
and we had a real interesting culture at Little Giant. My family is very religious Christian, family, and we actually had. I know some people that came to work for us were blown away the first time they ever went to a meeting. Every meeting we had at Little Giant started with prayer, and people were like, "Wow, we've never been in a company like this before." But my dad was, he just said, "Hey, we can do a lot of good things on our own, but if we have God's help, we can accomplish anything." And so we always had, prayers and company meetings. We had parties, especially our Christmas party was totally based on, the Christmas story. And people loved it. It was great.
Yes, like a breath of fresh air to so many people. Um, Randall says, great question, Jay. Thanks for the nugget, good Doug. There
You're
you
welcome.
go. Let's see, Greg saying your garage is very organized.
Oh, I remember growing up, my dad used to have this carpet in his garage. I mean, it was like indoor outdoor carpeting, and my dad's garage was always immaculate. Our house was always immaculate, and my mom, of course, kept a good house, but my dad was pretty, he was a stickler on neatness and organization.
And Ron said, we're burning daylight.
Yeah, that was one of my dad's quotes.
Ah,
He would be like, "Hey, let's get rolling. We're burning daylight."
right on. Okay, so what the world needs is giving. You're talking about the giver and the issues that are going on in the world that are driving this. And you talked about this, and I'm experiencing this too as well. What's going on, and what's the solution, Mr.
Man,
Wayne?
I mean, every day when you're driving down the road, if you don't hit the gas like within a half a second and that light turns green, people are like freaking out, right? They're so rude and mean, and there's a lot of just, I don't know, frustration, anger in the world today, and not very much patience. But I
Yeah,
do think that, the world today needs more kindness, more love, more giving. Just, I'll tell a story real quick. When I was on the road one time, selling ladders, and I was in Nashville, Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee. My very first time I was in Memphis. These were the days when we had maps, when we were driving and
oh
trying to.
yeah.
There's no GPS, and I remember I was lost. I was trying to find my hotel one day, and I cut this guy off in a big. He was in a big truck. It wasn't an 18-wheeler, one of those big delivery trucks. And
Mhm.
this guy was behind me, and I must have cut him off 3 or 4 times. And he was honking his horn. He was flipping me off, and he was following me. And this guy was a big guy, and he was following me, and he followed me into the hotel parking lot. And as soon as I got to a stop, this guy he opened my car door, and I thought, okay, this guy's gonna, you're gonna get in a fight with this guy. And so what I did was, I just turned in my seat and faced him, and he crouched down, and he just started swearing at me, pointing his finger at me, just was mad. And I just sat and listened to him and remained calm. And he went on for like 30 to 45 seconds, and then he stops and he goes, "Well, don't you have anything to say?" And I said, "Yes, I'm sorry for cutting you off. This is my first time in Memphis. I've never been here before. I'm lost. I'm very sorry." And he just stared at me, and then he just goes, and he stands up and turns around, gets in his truck and drives off. And so I thought, I could have handled that. I could have got mad too. And I could have said, "Hey, you're a jerk," and got mad at him. And we would have been out in the parking lot, beating each other up. But I stayed calm. I let him talk and vent. And I just apologized, and he left. And so I think in situations like that, if we provoke somebody else and get all excited, that's going to make the situation worse. And so I learned, if you're calm and you stay calm and apologize and be kind to people, it's really hard for somebody to fight you if you're nice. You know what I mean? It's just really hard.
Absolutely. That's a great story, Doug. I love it. And for everyone that's listening, uh, we've been taught to turn the other cheek, and we've heard things like that. But when you literally do it, like Doug is talking about, you can hear the reaction. It's so much better than meeting that level of anger
Yeah.
and making it worse.
I was
I
watching,
mean, yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
I was watching a football game last night, and one guy pushed another guy. The first guy pushed the one guy, and the other guy pushed him, and the second guy got the flag. And because the first guy started it, the second guy hit him the second time, and he got called for the penalty, which was a big penalty for their team. And I was thinking, you know what, if you just didn't, sure, he got provoked, but if he would have just stayed calm and not reacted, he cost his team a big penalty. And so sometimes that works. Just like in the story I talked to you about, if I would have gotten mad, I can guarantee you, me and that guy would have been out in the parking lot, and he was a big guy. He would have beat me to a pulp, But stay calm and just be nice, and good things will happen.
Amen to that. We got some more comments. See, LinkedIn user says, "Hey Doug, um, I don't know who that was. For some reason, the security is blocking it. But come back to us and let us know your name, where you're from, so we can know." And Greg says, "In God we trust. Everyone else pays cash." I will tell you that a lot of times people hear these stories and these lessons, but it stops before they actually implement it and give it a try.
Mm-hmm.
And Doug, I find it hard to believe that you would be out there in a tussle in the parking lot with someone over something like that, because you have learned, it's like maybe you got a side to you, I don't know, but I will tell you that your first inclination is going to be love your brother. And we even know that the Bible says if you love your brother, it's like keeping burning coals on his hearth. or on his head, excuse me. And that's in the Bible. You know that too. And
Mm.
so probably that's the greatest revenge you can do. Um, we talked about the beauty of your um, book and what it can bring people to, and a practical lesson. Oh, here's somebody. This is Regina from Nairobi, Kenya.
Mhm.
Love having the people from Africa here. That's who that is, and she's like a good share, good. And Randall's telling us, Doug, I went to the largest supermarket chain in Trinidad recently and saw the staff using a little giant ladder. How cool!
Holy cow, in Trinidad, that's awesome, yeah.
That is
So,
great.
like we were talking about, what can you do to help people or be kind to people? I mean, just a little thing like, let's say you're in line at Starbucks or, a bagel place or something, hey, why not just grab say, hey, I'll take care of your breakfast this morning, or buy somebody a cup of coffee. I mean, it's something as little as that. And just doing something like that, someone else is going to take that, and they're like, oh, wow, this guy bought me a coffee. And then maybe they're going to do something for someone else. I mean, but it starts with little things, even opening the door for people nowadays. I mean, how many of us do that when we see a woman or someone that's got, holding one of their kids or something, or just opening it for anyone? I mean, people are surprised when I still open doors for people. And, but that's just how I was raised, was to
Yeah,
try to help someone, just doing the little things.
and it's scriptural. Um, this is a scripture that refers specifically to what we're talking about. Give, and it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down and shaken together, running over, shall men give into your bosom. For with the same measure that ye meet withal, it shall be measured to you again. And that's an encouragement. That's Luke, and from 6:38 from the King James version. I mean,
Mhm.
even God tells us that there's benefits to
Yeah.
giving.
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes that my dad used to tell, is that the things that we've been blessed with in our lives, the resources that we have been given, and the Little Giant family, the Wing family, has been super blessed. I mean, we've been so blessed. But my dad used to say, you know what, these resources, these things that we've been given are not ours. They're on loan from God. And someday, he goes, I'm going to have to report back to God, and he's going to say, all right, Hal Wing, I blessed you so abundantly in your life. What did you do with those blessings? Did you help other people, or did you just, spend it all on yourself? And so, my dad was such a good teacher about that, is that the things that we have are on loan, and we are going to have a day of reckoning someday, and we're going to have to answer to what we did with the blessings we had. Did we help other people? Did we share? Did we not only our money, but our time as well, and our talents?
Amen. We have uh, lots of people commenting. I just love it. Well said. There we go. And what Gregory Sneed had mentioned, pushing prayer out of school and business leads us to a place where kindness runs out of style. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah,
People
and
just,
we're coming out of COVID, where people were isolated and separated. And honestly, I think that smartphones, what smartphones has done to a lot of us is that, a lot of times we've got our phone and we're looking at it and we're playing with it. And I mean, go into an airport sometime, go into a restaurant, and people are waiting to be seated. What are they doing? Are they talking, or are they looking at their phones? I mean, I see husband and wife on a date, and they're both looking at their phone. And I'm thinking, no, you're there to strengthen your relationship, and to have a date night, and they're both looking at their phones. And I was like, so I think we just need to be careful with, with the technology we have today is great, but I think that kids nowadays, they've lost the ability to communicate. They can text, but they don't know how to use a phone, or talk to people, and so and just
mhm.
get to know people. And that, I think that's really critical, that we keep those communication skills. I was in sales and marketing almost my entire career, and I developed relationships with people, and many of those people are my dear friends, and I still talk to them on a weekly basis.
You got to talk. And for people that are listening, thinking you're right about that, it's a conscious decision. Maybe you got to have a little conversation with the family or with your wife. I know Karen and I, there's times when we'll get in the car and we're going to head off and do something for the day or whatever. And we look at each other and we put those phones in there and we just leave them alone and let a whole day go by without texting and checking emails and all that kind of stuff. And we allocate that time, especially to ourselves. And it's a conscious decision these days. Otherwise, it's like this. You don't even know. I don't even know I'm doing it. I don't
Yeah,
even know. I
yeah, and
don't
so
even know.
I think that coming out of COVID, where we were isolated and where people just kind of lost that personal touch. I think today more than ever before, like this book, The Giver, is going to be such a good book to where people can read that and say, wow, this is, we need to be doing more. We need to be helping more people. We need to be giving and helping and loving and caring about people. I think it's going to be really, really well received.
Yes, and the message in the giver is something that, in my mind, I'm thinking it's going to give people just the tools um, that they can use in order to move forward. And when we're talking about that, let's see. Uh, hey, let's see. Eric Flournoy says, "Hey, hey, two of the grooviest. Hi, Eric.
Hi,
Glad you're here."
Eric's a good guy. He's such a good guy. Yeah.
Now, here's a question from Kadzo. How do you move a receiver to being a giver? Boy, that's a big one. Do you
Mhm.
have any tips for that?
Well, I think that as people do receive, hopefully they, are they are blessed, and they get that spirit of, wow, so this person did this for me or helped me, and then they in turn, will go and help other people. When I, a lot of times, if I help somebody, and they're like, what can I do for you? And I try to do something anonymously for somebody, or I just help somebody. They'll say, is there anything I can do for you? And I'll say, yes, you can
Mhm.
do something for me. Go and help someone else. And
Good.
so that's one way that we can teach people is if, let's say that somebody was pulled over on the side of the road, they were out of gas or something, and you pulled over and helped them and you took them to the gas station, brought them back, and then they'd say something like, what can I do for you? You can simply say, you know what? Find someone today that you can help, return the favor. And so I think that's probably the best way to teach someone is just say, hey, you know what? I don't want anything for this, but go find somebody else to help today.
Amen. Let's see. Greg says, sadly, some companies make decisions they know are harmful to people, yet still do them in the pursuit of profits. Yeah.
Yeah,
That,
and that's one thing that you will learn in this book is that the son was concerned just about the profits and making a lot of money for the company, and then after his father passed, he realized, wow, holy cow, there's more to being in business and having all these blessings. Dad was concerned about helping people, making people happy, helping them, taking care of them, and then the roles reverse, and at the end, the son becomes learns that that's really what's important is giving and helping, and he becomes a giver too.
yes. See, Sharon says, my husband doesn't want to have anything to do with a cell phone.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, that's amazing that, and that means you probably have a really good relationship with your husband and you got good communication. And again, the phones are not bad. I mean, they're great. The technology's great, but moderation in those things, and so many people just let it consume their lives.
So, as we're talking about this and how powerful this book can be, and it's really something to me. There's a picture of the book again right there. That's like we both get to sit here and look at it, put it right here between us. Um, Something was running through my mind, and in your in your humility, and by the way, Greg saying if you can just help one person, you've helped the world to be a better place. You
Exactly.
bet. But here's something I thought. Great timing. You're involved with the right people. Chicken soup from the soul for the soul. I mean, I even saw a Hansen book that said chicken soup for the chiropractors. So I mean, he's really developed this, and this is coming out during the Christmas season. So people, if you were looking for something to give people that might help them become givers,
Hmm.
this might be the book to do it uh, for Christmas time. And then I was thinking, it's like this only happens by a miracle from God for it to become viral. But the definition of viral back in the 40s and 50s was Miracle on 34th Street or It's a Wonderful Life. And these are movies that today I still watch every year at Christmas time to remind me of goodness.
Yeah,
And I was like, I don't know. And would this be this? Could this be a viral moment, a viral situation that suddenly this book and the recording that will come after it, and maybe who knows what become could be something like this? I don't know,
sure.
but I'm gonna give God a chance to make that happen, to touch the lives of people all over the world for the next 1,000 years, like movies like this have. Fantastic.
Yeah, for
Doug,
sure.
you're changing lives every time you've been on. You said you've been on my show for 3 times, right? Nobody else has been on the show for 3 times. It's wonderful, and you're going to be on 4 times or 5 or whatever it takes, because when we get together, great things happen for the benefit of the people that are listening and watching. Um,
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, like I said, it's been wonderful. We have a lot of similar interests and values, and you know, from the very first time I met Mark Victor Hansen, my new publisher, he said, "There's something about you." I mean, I told him some stories, and he said, "There's something about you. These stories have to be shared with people, and people really need this at this time." And so, I was pretty impressed that that he said that. I didn't think it was a big deal at all what we were doing. We were just trying to be helpful and give back. And but he said, "No, people need this. They need to hear these stories." And so we'll probably write a couple more books together, fiction, I think, about different things that are important, that are good, like giving.
we've got some more people have jumped in. Amber McNeely
Morning.
says good morning. And let's see, Scott Rickard. Hey, you got a sale.
Scott is, like I said,
Ring the bell.
he is just incredible, and I appreciate you,
Thanks,
Scott,
Scott.
so much.
See what Ron says. I visit with George Bailey every Christmas Eve. Yeah, me too. Yep. And let's see, that would be Greg said, I'd love to have a great chicken pot pie. You bet. Um, you told me a story when we were chatting about this, about your mom and her gift.
Mhm.
And tell us that story as we wind down here.
Yeah, my mother was great at this too. After my father passed away, and my mom, keep in mind, the reason for this is my mom didn't have she never had a driver's license her entire life. She had bad eyes, and so she couldn't pass the eye test, or she could have driven, but she just had really bad eyes. But anyway, every Christmas, probably 3 or 4 weeks before Christmas, after my dad passed away, she would invite me up to her home, and she had these little envelopes, and probably 10 envelopes with the names of widows in the area. And she would put cash in these envelopes, and she would say, "I want you to go and visit, this lady, and, the entire list, and wish them a Merry Christmas." And of course, I knew who they were. And it was just such a treat to go to these widows' homes, who they were very, at Christmas time, people are lonely. And it was such a treat to have these widows invite me in, and they'd hug you, and just they wanted you to visit with them for a few minutes, and you'd give them this gift, and it was just a special time to do that. And so I had such a wonderful parents who always thought about other people, and who just were looking for ways to help those that were lonely or needy, or just to lift them up and help them in any way they could. And so I was always just grateful for that, that opportunity to help my mom, and to kind of be the delivery guy for those. So it was special. Every year I did that until she passed away. And what a great example to me, and there's different ways that, that different things I'm involved in now as well, to help others. And it's just a joy to be able to give back and to do this.
Everyone, It try to stick to 30, 35 minutes. Doug gets an extra 10 minutes or 15. It every time. It's the time just flies because what you're saying is so valuable. It's heart deep, it's spiritual, and it will improve everyone's life. So I really thank you for coming. Uh,
Thank
DougWing.com, Amazon on November 1st. And if
you.
you want to get to know Doug, I mean, he answers his emails. That would be Doug@DougWing.com. If you want to send him an email and get in touch with him, he'd love to hear from you. And then you can also connect with him on Facebook and LinkedIn and all those different places that are out there. So, Doug, do you have any parting words before I play us out?
Well, we're coming into a great season to, if you haven't done a lot of giving, and I know that times are really tough right now financially for a lot of people. And so if you don't have the resources to help someone with finances, think about someone each day. Here's the thing. When I kneel down every morning when I wake up, I ask God to help me find someone that I can help. And that, again, that doesn't mean just money wise, but is there somebody today that I can help with my means, with time, with talents, with just saying hello? There's people out there who are so lonely and needy. And so if we'll do that every day, if we'll ask, and then I really like this book by Mark Victor Hansen and his wife. It's all about asking. And it talks about dreams between the bridge between dreams and destiny. And it's a great book if you've never read it. But we have to ask in order to receive. And so as we wake up each day and go about our day, if we'll take the time to ask, hey, who is it today that give me an opportunity to help somebody today, to bless someone's life? If we'll do that each day, those things will happen. I promise you they'll happen. There'll be somebody you run into that needs your help, whether that's just a friendly hello, a smile, or someone who really does need your help. You'll have those opportunities and they will present themselves to you if you ask for them. And then you got to pay attention. My dad was really good about this. He would notice if people needed things. He had this perception. There was there was a story that you heard before where my dad just showed up in a hospital room one time, and one of his friends was in a really bad accident, and they had no idea how my dad knew that they needed him that day. But Hal Wing showed up in the hospital and was there to help him through this situation. And then later on, that gentleman he worked for our company. My dad offered him a job, and they became friends, for the rest of their lives. And so if we have those opportunities, if we look for those opportunities, they will be there. And so that's my challenge to everyone listening to this program is look for ways each day to help somebody, even if it's just with a smile and a hello and opening doors and being kind. It will make a difference. It will make a huge difference in someone's life. And then, as we talked about before, those come back to us and help make us, even better people.
Amen. Well, Doug, thank you for coming. If you'll, I'll ask you to slip back into the green room and don't eat all the fruit because I'll be back there in a minute, and I look forward to having some snacks with you. See you there. Thanks for
Jay,
coming, Doug
thank
Wing.
you so much. And thank you, everyone, for being here. And God bless you. Thank you.
And everyone, this has been the Buyers and Sellers Show today with Doug Wing. I'm so happy you came. We had a lot of good comments here and some people popping in here. Hey, Randall, and it just comments from people saying, hey, they liked it and it was wonderful. And boy, was it. And isn't it nice to have a friend like Doug Wing? And he's your friend, he's mine. And I would only encourage you to get to know him, buy his book, and look at this. There we go. Everybody's just chiming in. What a great crowd today. And so with that, I want to say see you next week. That'd be next Friday, 10:35. This is the Buyers and Sellers Show. You can get a hold of me anytime. Oops, there we go. Pop that one on. And there's my phone number and my email and my website. And if you want to get in touch with me about anything, sure, give me a call. I would love to talk to you. Anyway, that being said, Have a great day. See you next Friday. See you next week. Thanks for coming.